God rides straight on crooked lines. Dear brothers and sisters, today is the last day of 5th week of Lent, and from tomorrow onwards we are beginning the Holy Week by celebrating the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem. John chapter 12 narrates the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem. It is in chapter 11 the plot against Jesus gets thickened. The last verse of 11th chapter says, "The chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that anyone who knew where Jesus was should let them know so that they might arrest him." The question may arise in our minds, why the Pharisees and the chief priests wanted to kill Jesus? St. John throughout his gospel brings about an astonishing development regarding this. Along with the growing popularity of Jesus, people also began to believe in him. This belief in Jesus caused a friction among the Pharisees and the chief priests. Towards the end of the passage of Samaritan woman in chapter 4 verse 41, we find people began to believe in Jesus. Again in chapter 4 verse 50, when Jesus healed the official's son, the official's household began to believe in him. In chapter 8 verse 30, when Jesus spoke of his death and resurrection, people began to believe in him. In chapter 10 verse 42, again, when Jesus gave a passionate teaching on "I am the good shepherd," the last verse says that many people began to believe in him. In chapter 11 verse 45, when Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, the people gathered there began to believe in him. Hence, we see that popularity and growing belief in Jesus not only created religious problems, but it also caused the political problems among the Pharisees and especially the high priest, Caiaphas. Caiaphas held the position of high priest from the year 18 AD to 36 AD. And interestingly, he was ratified or appointed by the Romans themselves. Therefore, we can say that along with power and position, he also had other benefits from the Romans. Today's passage is better understood from this background. It is better for you to have one man die for the people than to have the whole nation destroyed. Now Caiaphas not only has to return the favor to the Romans, but also wants to secure his position by establishing peace in the country, which may give him some personal benefits. As the famous proverb says, God rides straight on crooked lines. The negative statement of Caiaphas is already prophesied by prophet Ezekiel quite positively, which we find in the first reading. "I will make them one nation in the land and on mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them all. Never again shall they be two nations, and never again shall they be divided into two kingdoms." From the time past, God had his plans ready to bring together the whole humanity around Jesus. In John chapter 12 verse 32, Jesus says, "When I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all people to myself." Now, once again this Holy Week, the Lord is gathering all people around Jesus. But are we willing to gather around Jesus? It is only by standing beneath the cross we have salvation. It is only in the death of Jesus we find life for ourselves. Amen.